Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Gina once again, and I'm continuing my efforts at using my prints for 100 days. Today I have number 23 to 26, and what I wanted to try was doing just black and white. So this was definitely a challenge for me. Here I am adding some paint, some black paint to grease paper. And I put too much, so I'm just using another sheet to take up some of it, which leaves amazing marks because you actually see the brush strokes when you pick up the paper. It's really cool. So I'm just making some collage paper here because I didn't have the see-through one. I did some on regular paper, but I wanted it to be on transparent paper. So I actually found these when I was looking for my blacks, and I was like, yes, I'll make some. So I'm just going to do this quick. And now I'm just making marks on my paper. This paper I'm using is 11 3/4 by 16.5. The plan is to just paint on this paper and then cut it up and see what I get from them. This was actually inspired by the amazing Jackie Schomburg. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it good. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering your name, but she's wonderful. She's been inspiring me. I just recently found her channel on YouTube, and she's really inspiring. I'm learning so much. I'm just really inspired, and she's just making me want to do more art. So that's always awesome. And that's what I want to do for you all too. Just hope to encourage you to create and inspire you to, just try new things and just keep doing your thing and keep learning and keep pressing on. Yeah? So I'm cutting out some shapes and just using up my collage paper, which is the plan, right? I'm using up my shapes, and for this one, it was very difficult for me, to be honest, because it's like when you have a nice piece of collage paper or a nice shape, it's hard to cover that up, even partially. So right now I'm just cutting out some shapes from them. Not as usual, I don't really have, my plan is only to use black and white. So I have these kind of grays in between, which is a mixture of the two. But I'm not adding any other color, which I was so tempted to do a couple times. I was really tempted. So I'm using Mod Podge to stick them down. You could use whatever you have if you decide to try this. Oh, I decided to change my brush at the last minute. It was just too big. I felt like I would have no control if I used it. And it would just be a big mess. So yeah, I'm cutting now the shapes, and this particular project was very difficult for me, but it was lovely. It was very freeing, and it's actually something that I've been wanting to do, but it was just difficult. So I guess seeing somebody else do it, the way that it was done, it really inspired me to finally try it. So I did. Now, because there's so much black on the page, I am using this piece of paper that doesn't have much black. Yes, it is slightly opaque. It's a bit transparent, not entirely. So you are seeing some of the background noise, but it's mostly covered. I'm just using a regular bank card, old bank card, to scrape all the glue through. But I'm also trying to create some, because it was just feeling really loud and confusing. So I'm trying to mellow it down and just make something nice. And yeah, here is me trying to mellow it down now. So after I did all of that, I found it was too much, so I'm just using the card to scrape off some of that paint. So you could still see some of the background, but it's also creating some nice lines and formations. And now I'm trying to I really wanted to use this one with the stripes. Really wanted to use it, but it just wasn't feeling right. So I'm using, this is a piece of card that I found, and I just cut it up into little squigglies. And I'm going to stick them down just to see what happens. And in come my lighter gray shapes now. I'm just placing them on the paper just to see if I like them, where I like them, where I'm gonna leave certain items. I'm still trying to fit this in. For this, I'm also trying not to think too much. I'm trying not to take too much time thinking. I'm trying to make quick decisions, because then I would take forever I would take like hours, probably a whole day or half day to do this, honestly. So I'm just trying my best to make quick decisions and just get things stuck down and get things covered and, just create in a short space of time. So yeah, but it was very relaxing, because remember, I'm trying not to think too much while doing this. I'm just like, okay, let me put this here. Do I like it? Yeah, look all right. Stick it down. Don't think too much. Don't try to look for another piece. That's why I cut out all my pieces in the beginning. So I'll just have them there and I'll just use from that. So again, now I'm covering up and trying to create some sections and some areas to somehow, as well as sectioning off, I was trying to also combine everything and try to make it feel like a together piece instead of separated. That looks like a vase, huh? That I'm the piece down below. It looks like a vase. Or a sexy woman, the bottom of a sexy woman with real hips. Anyways, right, so I'm trying to blend out that. I could not find a wipe, so as I said, I'm trying not to think too much, so I just used what I had at hand. I found a napkin nearby and I used that. And this one here looks like a mountain. It's pretty cool what you could see. Abstract art is amazing. Everybody sees something different. So I'm just trying to blend certain areas, trying to get rid of some of those edges and blend them into each other, into the paper, and then see what's happening next. So again, there's a lot of black happening on the page. So here I'm bringing in some white. And I decided that I didn't want to see that vase shape. I didn't want it as a whole shape, so I'm just breaking things up again. So in my mind, I'm breaking things up as well as trying to bring them together and making it one. So here comes some shapes now. This shape, it was really interesting. My hand just did it on its own, and while it was happening, I was thinking, oh, this looks cool, as if it was somebody else doing it. It was weird. And then I decided, let's make some more. And then I made the other curve, and now I'm doing these 3 strokes. It was very interesting. So one thing leads to another when I'm creating. And I thought that looked pretty cool. So I thought, let's balance it off and add something on the top. And now I'm just darkening those marks, making them less transparent. Then I decided that they were too white, so I'm breaking it up by adding a line of black in the middle of them. And then when I was done with that, I didn't like it. But I let it dry and I moved on. I said, okay, let's do something else. Let's add some dots. And I didn't like those 3 circles either. So I decided to do this. Just jab the paintbrush on the page and just make some marks. Some circular-ish looking marks in a couple areas. I really didn't like those 3 dots. So now I'm bringing in some white dots to break up those black areas as well. So we have a lot of dots happening, and I started to feel a little better about it. Like I said, I didn't like those marks that I made in the middle of the white, so I'm breaking those up too. However, when I did these, I didn't like it either. Yeah. And, you know, it happens. Sometimes we create things and we just don't like it, and I think that's okay too. So I decided to stop here and cut my paper. So I'm going to cut it and get 4 pieces out of it. And then I'm going to work on them individually and together at the same time. When I mean as individual pieces, but all together. So I decided to do 2 at a time because my desk space is really small. And I'm just breaking up again some of those areas. So I'm coming back in with some more shapes. I love how that looked there, so I'm just going to stick that down. The paper that I used to do that, it's a regular letter size paper, copy paper. And what I did was put the paint on, and I took a bank card and I just scraped the paint all over it. And that's how I got those marks. And I did a couple like that with different colors because I love the pattern that the scraping gives. It's really nice. So I'm just sticking some more shapes down to break up that black and to add a different different texture and different lighting on the page. I know that's not the word, but you know what I mean, right? Right, so we'll switch cards now. Let's see what we're going to do with this card. As I said, I'm still trying not to think too much. I'm just trying my best to make quick decisions and see what comes out. I'm sure many of you have done this exercise before, but I would like to encourage you to try it or to do it again, because it's very freeing. Challenge yourself to just make a big piece, cut it up. You could cut it smaller if you want as well, and just make some. Instead of leaving it as is, you could leave it as is, or you can work on them individually after you've cut it up. This is just some marks I made on a regular copy paper again with a paintbrush, and I just made some marks on the paper. I was thinking of adding it, but it didn't feel right, so I ended up not using it. This is regular paint, acrylic paint on copy paper again. I just did the whole, because I have no black paper, so I just painted a couple of sheets black. And I'm trying to decide if to add it, how to add it, so I'm cutting out some shapes to see what I think could work. Because this one turned out to be a bit lighter than the last one, so I'm adding black, but in small bits and pieces. Now I'm moving on to my next sheet. I'm still trying to use these rectangles that I just cut, but they just don't feel right. I really like this piece though, it's nice. And then you'll find that you like some pieces more than others. Some you could probably even frame, and some you could use as collage paper in another project. And some you know, it's just ideas. You could use it as ideas for when you're doing a bigger piece. It's really, the exercise it's a really nice exercise. I love it. This one was difficult. Again, this one has a lot of black, so I'm just trying to break up some of that black. Even though I really like those dots, I was more comfortable by this point with just making quick decisions. So I just did that, and I'm breaking up my page. This one was difficult. That black piece kind of looks like some type of animal. Oh, with a butt in the back, a big butt. And now looking at it, and it's like, whoa, that's so cool. So I'm trying to break up these lines, that the curve that I made, that I said I didn't like after I did it. I'm just breaking it up a bit. It kind of looks like a cloudy finish. in front of it, which is pretty cool. This one was difficult too, boy. And that black piece in the back, it looks like a guitar or piece of a guitar. You know, the cello. It reminds me of that. So again, I'm breaking up my curve. Looking at it, I don't know what to do. I think this one was the most difficult for me to work on. But I kept pressing it on and trying. This was definitely the most difficult one for me. I realized we weren't really seeing the curves, so I decided to highlight it with the black, and as soon as I started it, I didn't like it. And even though I decided to continue with it, I really did not like how it looked. But I did it anyway. I thought maybe when I'm done, it might look okay, but I really, really did not like it. So I found my pen, and I'm making some scribbles. I'm using, what kind of pen is this? It says hybrid gel grip. I thought maybe if I use those, if I make some marks, it would help. Didn't like it. So I'm using the remains to stick this down to add some black in these areas because it got too white for me. I know it's not white, it's more gray, but you know what I mean. I was so tempted to add color. So tempted. But I said, no, Gina, this is a black and white series you're doing. Just keep it. Stick to it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I'm definitely going to do some more. I'm trying to make it cohesive by adding those strokes to make it look continuous. And these lines in the corner here were just supposed to be a couple lines, and it turned out to be a whole bunch of them, which I actually love. I feel like that this part of the card is the best part for me with these lines. I love it. And that's the thing, when you do these things, you know, you'll end up doing things that it turns out that you might actually love more than you thought you would, and you would use it in other pieces, you know? I love that corner there. It was getting a bit crooked, so I just kind of straightened it and filled it in. And yeah, I love that. Love that. Yeah, this one I didn't, those lines were just weird, and I don't know. So I decided to break it up. I'm using the black to break up those curves that I didn't like. I forgot that those other cards were underneath. I was like, oh no! So I moved them quickly out of the way and continued. Yeah, and I'm just breaking up those curves and those lines that I made. And because I added black, I thought, okay, we need to brighten up the page. It's too dark now, too much black. So I went in with the white on this side to break it up, break up these curves. So they won't hopefully look like curves. And I still thought maybe I could bring back in the line with the pen just to have a different variation as well of thickness of the lines that are on there. I didn't like it. This is the worst one for me. I'm trying to brighten up that white, make it even brighter. And then that'll be about it. And then I found it was too white, so I just trying to blend in some black, just a tiny bit. And then because I have the dots on it right there, I thought let me add some dots in other places to help balance it out. But I mean, have a look at them, then let me know which one you like the best, or which two are your favorites. I'm just adding a border on this one. And that's pretty much it. I want to thank you so much for watching. I know this one was pretty long, but I hope you created while I was creating. So let me know which ones you like. This is the one that I don't like. It's kind of not too bad, but it gave me the most trouble. And I will see you in the next video where I will continue my 100 days challenge. Thank you all so much as always. Bye!